Okay, so we got our other motor broke down. It's sitting right here. We got all the parts broke off that we need, minus a couple extras. We're probably gonna end up having to use these valve covers because they have the correct PCV breathing equipment. I set them up different, but we use that for now. Plus, that has an oil fill. If you notice right here, this tank only has the breathers, so I don't have any extra parts right now. So, and I'm not spending any money, so I'm just gonna use those valve covers after I put a quick paint job on them. And the more we look at this, the more we're like, nobody's even used those flywheel. Nobody's even those thermostats have not even seen coolant yet. Along with the head gasket that we looked at earlier. As you can see, it's got brand new head gasket on it. The valves haven't even been adjusted, right? So there's still valves that need to be adjusted or looked at. Now we look over here at the brand new flywheel. You can look at this flywheel and see it's never even had a starter on it. And then the studs don't have any discoloration. So this thing, since these manifolds got put on, that starter, those thermostats. So, and then there's an oil pan gasket you can see has been replaced. And that starter's marked 2010 if you look at the date code on it. There's a date code in there marked 2010. So I've had this motor for 15 years. If that flywheel went on the same year that it was made and then got traded. And that's how long I've been holding on to this thing. So I was going to pull the bottom end off, but I spun it by hand and it feels really good. So I am going to just stick it in and hope for the best after I go through the valving. And that's going to be my next video. So I'm going to show you how to do this race style without having a dial wheel for your crank and do it all with your brain. And it should be interesting. Then a little bit on this guy. So I got to looking at it. Looks like we have one valve that's running hot, right? We have no exhaust valves leaking. We have a clean valley, right? So more than likely, somebody didn't just pull this out and keep it for no reason. So being that there aren't no exhaust valves leaking oil, and we only got one that looks like it's been running hot, so it's probably plug gap related. So it might be worth it to try to pressure test this cooling system and see if the block is cracked. Judging that it was supposed to be low miles and out of a motorhome because there was a generator sitting right next to it that would be in a motorhome. So we're pretty sure that's what this came out of. Not 100% certain on that, but just to have an extra motor and not throw something out that might be worth it, and probably pressure test it just to be certain. Yeah, so that's where that's at. I pulled the distributor out. You can tell this distributor has just had it. It's been sat and it's got dry, so the shaft doesn't want to turn real well. Like, look, I can't even. It's a lot of resistance. I've had these things when they come out, don't even spin. The motor runs great. So, but if we check this guy, see, and top dead center is not going to matter because I'm going to time this thing out. I'm going to time this out old school. See the difference there? You know how much horsepower that is? Not to mention you'll wear the gears right off. Look, I can't even turn it. I have to hold the housing down, and then I can barely excuse my French, I can barely spin it. So, looks like we're using this guy. We got a little bit of up and down shaft, but you're supposed to have some. It's probably got a little more wear than it should have, but I got no magnetic contacts. Yeah, we got some wear there, but we'll see. See how it runs. Like I said, I've seen them come out of motors that run perfect, and the distributor won't even barely turn it. You can't even turn it by hand. So there's bearings in that shaft that go bad. So the one thing to check, you can imagine your ignition side on the timing isn't going to be right. It's not going to, it's got to fight the distributor around. You're going to have some issues in the future. So we want to check that. That said, seems good. Speaking of that, let's see if we can get a view in here. So I don't think we can see our cam. It's going to be hard to get in there, but you see some old oil and a little scoring. But we're pretty clean. I get it to focus here. So yeah, we're gonna I'm going to give this guy an attempt without having to check anything else. It'll be fun. I mean, worst case scenario, I got to do anything to it. There should be enough room in that big truck. Should be enough room in that big truck to be able to do what I got to do, drop oil pans, pull intakes, whatever. So we're going to give this thing a good vacuum, and I might pull the intake off. We'll see here. I always planned on stripping this engine down, never planned on using it. So So I didn't really care to tape it up. It wasn't really a big deal. I was tearing it down anyway, so if I'd have known. Like you see that one, that might even be a junk motor, but I taped that one up and not learn that mistake again. So anyway, I mean, just be mindful of what you might use in the future and keep it sealed. That way you're not dealing with a bunch more issues later because you chose to not pay attention to something small like that. So that, I'll probably plug the ports and use a vacuum, see what I get pulled out. And if I pull out anything that I don't, probably should pull the intake and see what I'm saying. Anyway, look for the next video. We're going to do timing, manual timing, race style.